But I think there's another overlay that's in the works, maybe right now. OG, you got something to say about selling this?
Yeah. This is again from WDWNT rumor, and this is rumor, but it's saying Buzz says Space Mountain at Disneyland will be replaced with a Lightyear Mountain as part of Tomorrowland Overhaul. Now, this is very interesting, and this kind of scares me a little bit. And the reason why it scares me is because we've been hearing a lot of chatter lately from like Mice Age and WDWNT that they are very confident chatter, by the way. Like Mice Age is very bullish on this idea. If you've been following Mice Age, I'm a big fan of them. I check out their content all the time. Dusty Sage is fantastic. They've been very, very bullish on this idea that there will be some sort of new Tomorrowland announced at D23 Expo for Disneyland.
Yeah.
And we've been on this show. We've been kind of wrapping our brains around this, trying to reconcile this. Like, why would Disney do this? Why would they do this? Like, why now? Like, this is weird that they would have like the money to do this.
Yeah.
Well, it would make sense if they need justification for this to overlay Space Mountain with the big IP Lightyear. So that's why this scares me, because it kind of tracks quite a bit with what we've been hearing from like Mice Age that Disney's looking to overhaul Tomorrowland. Why do they want to overhaul Tomorrowland? Because of this.
It's an interesting thing. I mean, Dusty, even recently, he's had a series of, he does a live stream in the park once a week. And even recently on his most recent live stream, he's been doing this for several weeks now, saying, Tomorrowland's coming. Tomorrowland's coming. Tomorrowland's coming. Be very bullish, which is very, very odd. And then you have this kind of rumor like this. I mean, it does paint a picture. And I think the reason why OG is a little, little afraid right now is because, well, this is kind of a bad idea. I mean, let's be honest here. It's not the greatest thing. I think, and we also heard a kind of a rumor a few months ago about maybe, Lightyear taking over Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters and the kind of various versions of the attraction. At least that kind of makes sense. At least that's kind of like, okay, well, I mean, if Lightyear is successful, it would make sense that you theme it to an IP that's a little bit more relevant, right? Obviously, Disney does have some disagreements with Tim Allen, but that's a whole other story entirely. But Space Mountain, this really a franchise within itself. I talk about it, and I think we talked about it before, OG. These attractions that have this much notoriety are basically their own IPs.
Yes, 100%.
Right? Big Thunder, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean to some extent, at least the original version, Space Mountain, they're like their own things. So the fact that you'd want to IP this in this way, it really is kind of just a bizarre thing. I think the Disneyland Resort, at least, likes the fact that they can just kind of overlay this attraction with just about anything, and it kind of works, right? Even Star Wars, Halloween, stuff like that. The fact that they would go this route, it's just bizarre.
It's bizarre, especially for an attraction like Space Mountain. And I know my Epcot fans are going to hate me for saying this, but I can at least understand the reasoning behind Disney going, okay, Maelstrom has a demand problem. Let's put Frozen in there. That'll solve our demand problem, right?
Right.
Okay. Maybe you don't agree with it, but at least you can understand, right? Epcot fans, you can understand the rationale behind it.
Right.
This Buzz Lightyear thing makes no fucking sense, because it's not like Space Mountain needs more demand. It's already one of the most, if not the most, popular attractions in every park that it's in. It's already a huge freaking success. You don't need any more demand. It makes no sense to insert this IP now. For what? Oh, so you can sell more Lightyear merchandise? Well, you can do that in the store right across the way. You can put the Lightyear merch in the Tomorrowland store. It doesn't make any sense. This whole move makes zero sense. I hope it's false. I hope it doesn't happen. What I would be supportive of, though, and I'm hoping
Mm.
this is what it is. I'm hoping lines got crossed, and this is not a permanent change to Space Mountain, but like an overlay similar to what we see with like Hyperspace Mountain.
Yeah.
Right? If it's like a summer kind of special offering, maybe after Hyperspace ends, we'll do like a Lightyear Mountain for like 3 or 4 months to promote the movie.
Yeah.
All in. That's fun. That's awesome. Something different for a few months. I'm all on board with that.
Yeah.
But permanently changing this attraction to Lightyear would be an absolute disaster. And did Disneyland not learn their lesson when they try to mess with Space Mountain in the late 1990s when they painted it that dog shit brown? And the fans hated it. Can you stop messing with something that works? Just leave it alone.
And it works so well. I mean, literally, when I was there recently, I mean, you only had a few attractions that really topped out the wait time meter, right?
Right.
As a Resistance, obviously. Sometimes Smuggler's Run, I think that's because one of the turntables were down, and I got confirmation on that a little while into my trip. Matterhorn, because it's not great capacity, and it's it's a Disneyland classic, right? Indiana Jones, but Space Mountain. I mean, I think it was topping out over 100 minutes at some points, and that's Disneyland's Space Mountain. Who knows what Space Mountain Walt Disney World looks like with the amount of attractions they have over there in that park. Like you said, there's no shortage of demand. And the only way I could kind of rationalize it in my head is, and I do agree with you, an overlay would be great. Yeah. I think it would be really phenomenal. The overlays have worked before, I think. Even, I know people don't like Rockin' Space Mountain. Even Rockin' Space Mountain, I thought was kind of fun. It wasn't like permanent. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. But when you're dealing with temporary, it's kind of like it's forgivable. It's only 3 months. Even if it's like crap, okay, it's only for a few months. Who cares, right?
Exactly, right? Exactly. And it's interesting you bring that up. There was a talk of drones. Maybe we can bring that up. But when it comes to Space Mountain, though, the only way I think it makes sense is for Walt Disney World Space Mountain. And why do I say that? Well, you do have Tron opening right next door. True. So maybe as a way to balance the crowds, maybe you do something like this, at least at Walt Disney World's Space Mountain, right? Give them something new flavor, and now you can kind of balance these things out that way. That's the only way I think makes sense. But even then, I mean, think about it, guys. We still have to have a successful franchise. And, I mean, I've heard some good things about the film. I've heard some really mediocre things about the film. From established critics and so forth, not just, I mean, a lot of people like to say, oh, well, because it's going to feature a certain thing, there's a hate fuel campaign against it. No. From reputable critics have said, not that great. I haven't really seen that much enthusiasm or hype for the film. I mean, to undergo a process like this, to an established attraction like this, and change it forever, I would think it has to make over $1 billion, or at least close to it, and I just don't think it's going to get there.
Right? No, 100%. It just makes no sense. It makes no sense because you're inserting this into something that doesn't really need a boost.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see it like, okay, we're gonna overlay Autopia with Lightyear. Okay, fine. Okay, Autopia needs the demand. It could use a little sprucing up.
Right.
Cool. I understand it. Not the greatest idea, but I get it. Space Mountain has no shortage of interest. People are lined up around the block to get on this thing. Yeah. There's no need for it.
There absolutely is no need for it, and unless they see. At least for Walt Disney World's version, unless they see a reason for it to compete a little bit more in line with what Tron is going to be offering next door. I mean, to be honest, I don't think there's a bigger delta between two attractions ever. Right. I mean, let's be honest, Walt Disney World's version, it's kind of like Matterhorn in the dark. Yeah. And Tron is yeah, exactly, right? It's not, the pinnacle of even, coaster technology or anything else, right? Whereas Tron is kind of a next-gen coaster almost with how it, with its effects and Obviously, they have that dazzling canopy that just got lit up and stuff like that. I mean, it is a game changer in terms of roller coaster technology and storytelling technology and so forth. Maybe not quite at the extent of Cosmic Rewind, but we'll see. It's just there's one was made in 75, one's going to be made in 2022, and it's going to be a radical difference between the two. I don't even think, Space Mountain and Walt Disney World doesn't even have onboard audio.
Wow.
So, I mean, to fund a real substantial overhaul for Space Mountain, give it maybe onboard audio and all these other things, and incorporate the Buzz Lightyear theme onto it, or the Lightyear theme onto it, I should say. Maybe it does make sense from that vantage point.
Right.
For Disneyland, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all.
Right, and it's kind of like the same argument that for Tokyo, right?
Mm.
Like we did a live show about the Tokyo Space Mountain, how they were going to reimagine their Space Mountain into like kind of like a Tronified version. Makes sense for Tokyo because their Space Mountain is like in dire need of like a renovation.
Yeah.
So you go in there, you infuse a lot of money, and you reimagine it. Okay, make it something new and fresh. Florida, right. Same thing. It's Matterhorn in the dark. It's a rough ride. Okay, maybe you go in there and you kind of reimagine it and you make it a fresh experience. Disneyland doesn't need that. It's already an A+ thing. It's already awesome. And like to go in there and mess with it is just the worst idea ever. Like seriously, like why would you even go? We have so much at Disneyland, especially even in Tomorrowland, that needs work. And that's the fucking thing you focus on?
Sector 2. Malfunction in Sector 2. All droids will be shut down for reloading of labor programs. Stand by for power disconnect.